Hello good citizens, my name is Dan, and in this video I'm going to show you the difference between a registered complaint and an unregistered complaint as per the British Columbia Police Act and the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner. Also, for the rest of this video I'm going to refer to the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner as the OPCC. In my previous videos about the OPCC, I exposed how the statistics on their own website prove that there is an extreme bias against registered complaints made by the public. So here I'll expose how they treat unregistered complaints made by the public. And my friends, you are in for a treat. Here we go. Warning, this video may contain language not suitable for all ages. Viewer discretion is advised. Now, I should note that this only pertains to municipal police departments in British Columbia. RCMP complaints do not go through the OPCC. The OPCC calls themselves a, quote, impartial, transparent civilian oversight, unquote. And the OPCC is responsible for the administration of discipline and proceedings under the British Columbia Police Act. So, in the province of British Columbia, if you want to make a complaint about a municipal police officer, there are two ways to go about it. First, and most common, is the registered complaint. In a registered complaint, there is an admissibility process. An analyst from the OPCC determines the admissibility of complaints received by the public. Second option is an unregistered complaint. Now, there is no admissibility process in an unregistered complaint. A member of the public fills out the official form, and the police are supposed to send a copy to the OPCC explaining how it was resolved. This is according to the OPCC's own website. So, I posted a video a ways back called VicPD Retaliation Exposed, Sergeant Carey Panton Professional Standards, No Complaint. In a recorded phone call between myself and the Professional Standards Section Sergeant Carey Panton, I had made an unregistered complaint about Greg Horonowich, badge number 422, about him commenting on my YouTube channel, disclosing my personal information publicly, harassing and intimidating me. Sergeant Panton insisted that the OPCC would have to find the complaint admissible before he could have the authority to start an investigation into my complaint. I, however, pointed out that according to Section 88 of the British Columbia Police Act, which Sergeant Panton seemed to be unaware of and had no knowledge of, was that there was a duty to preserve evidence upon becoming aware of my complaint or report. I also insisted that when I reported it, that it was time-sensitive evidence. However, not one person from the Victoria Police Department took any steps to comply with Section 88 of the British Columbia Police Act, including the one person who the British Columbia Police Act names as responsible for this section, the Chief Constable, Del Manick. And in the phone call with Sergeant Panton of the Professional Standards Section, well, he eventually hung up on me, as he obviously could not hold a conversation and keep up with me about the British Columbia Police Act. How unprofessional. And I'll link that call in the description. If you haven't heard it, check it out. So I initially submitted an unregistered complaint, which was on a registered complaint form, so they took it as a registered complaint. However, I would not submit to the OPCC getting involved with their admissibility process, as I knew back then that they did not have the authority to do so, and I'll get into that later in this vid. So because I would not submit to the OPCC admissibility process, which is not required with an unregistered complaint according to the OPCC's own website, well, they discontinued my complaint altogether. So it seemed clear that the police have to resolve unregistered complaints and then send a copy to the OPCC explaining how it was resolved. Pretty simple, right? Well, here's the action Bruce Dean and I took, as we both had outstanding complaints, and we both wanted to try the unregistered complaint process while documenting the entire process. In 2017, we went to the Victoria Police Department and asked to make a report about our concerns of police misconduct. Not a complaint. The official unregistered complaint form is called, quote, question or concern, unquote. After speaking with Constable Jesse McGee, Staff Sergeant Matt Waterman came out to help us acquire the proper forms. Staff Sergeant Matt Waterman appeared in a previous video of mine where he advised me not to film in the lobby of the police department. He said we're going to make up some policy and follow up with that. Ironically, here he is almost a year later with two guys armed with multiple cameras, yet he did not once communicate to us about our cameras recording in their lobby. It took a little while for Staff Sergeant Matt Waterman to locate the appropriate forms, and we left shortly after. And shortly after submitting the completed forms, I got the following series of emails from the OPCC. So in this first email that I received from the OPCC's Intake Services Coordinator, she says this: "Dear Dan, the Victoria Police Department has forwarded a copy of your question or concern related to Chief Constable Del Manick, Staff Sergeant Carrie Panton, and Constable Greg Horonowich. This office reviewed your question or concern form and noted that you identified specific allegations of misconduct in relation to each officer. My purpose in contacting you is to determine whether you wish your question or concern be processed as a registered complaint." And I replied to that email with the following: "Miss Selman, watch these 2 videos and then get back to me. Thanks, Dan." And what I did is I put a link to 2 YouTube videos that I have up. The first one's called OPCC No Authority, Part 1, Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner. And there's a Part 2 that I also linked below that. And Miss Selman replies shortly after, obviously not clicking on any of the links or watching anything. She says, "Dear Dan, thank you for taking the time to respond to my email. While we appreciate you attempting to provide more information by way of video, our office will require a definitive answer from you in writing to the question you were asked in my initial email to you. Do you wish your question or concern to be processed as a registered complaint? Once you have provided us with a yes or no response to this question, we will proceed accordingly." And shortly after, I kind of responded with a non-response. There's a reason why I responded this way, and I'll get into that shortly here. Here's my response. "Hi, thanks for getting back to me. I'm confused about this process and require assistance in making an informed decision on this. Would I be able to speak with Stan Lowe over the phone or meet with him in person at your office? Thanks, Dan." And for whatever reason, I didn't get a response, so I just sent another email and I said the following: "Hey, who can I speak to about the differences between a question or concern and a registered complaint? It seems the Vic PD, OPCC, and the Police Act all have conflicting descriptions. Thanks, Dan." And shortly after that, I received a response from Anthony Parker, who is one of the analysts with the OPCC. Him and I are good buddies. We go way back. Wink, wink. If you've watched the majority of my videos, you've seen Mr. Parker before. And Mr. Parker responds with, "Hello, Dan. Perhaps I can provide some assistance for you, as I currently have this file assigned to me for follow-up. I will let you know that speaking with the Commissioner over the phone or in person is not an available option. The Commissioner's position requires him to make decisions independently. Therefore, he does not have contact with complainants or respondent members in order to maintain that independence for any decision he makes." Okay, so I'm just going to break away from this email here for a quick sec. This is what I wanted to bring up. So it's very odd that Mr. Parker would say this, because according to Division 3, Section 78 of the British Columbia Police Act, how complaints are made to and registered with the Police Complaint Commissioner, it clearly states that subsection 2, the complaint may be made and registered by stating or delivering it, directly to the Police Complaint Commissioner. So what Mr. Parker just said completely contradicts Section 78, subsection 2A of the British Columbia Police Act. Okay, let's get back to Mr. Parker's silly email here. Okay, so he goes on to say, in relation to the question or concern that you filed with the Victoria Police Department on June 26, 2017, when a member of the public has a question or concern about a municipal police officer's conduct but does not result in making and registering of a complaint, they may contact a municipal police department directly, which you have done. The professional standards section of the involved department must record the question concern, which they have done, and forward a copy of the record to us. Section 85 of the Police Act deals with the questions or concerns for your reference. The Commissioner must also issue guidelines to departments that lay out the procedures to follow when a question or concern is filed by a member of the public, and provides clarity to departments as to what is considered a question or concern. Now, Mr. Parker left something out here. Remember how he kept saying, which they have done, which they have done. Okay, so the next thing he says after his last which they have done is he says, and forward a copy of the record to us. What he left out was, they didn't resolve it. So they're supposed to send a copy to the OPCC as to how they resolved it. He completely left that out. Okay, let's get back on this email here. He goes on to say, typically, a question or concern deals with a citizen asking why certain action or decision was made, or bringing to the attention of the department an issue that they may need clarification on. Departments will look into the question/concern and will provide a response to the person filing the question/concern. The OPCC is mandated to review all questions and concerns. And I'm going to break away from the email for just a sec here and go by what questions or concerns mean according to the OPCC's own website. And this is quoting directly from their website, as you can see here, questions or concerns. If a member of the public has a question or concern about a municipal police officer's conduct, but does not wish to file a registered complaint, he/she may contact a municipal department directly. The member of the municipal police department who receives the question or concern must inform the professional standards section of the involved municipal police department. The professional standards section must record the question or concern and forward a copy of the record along with how it was resolved to the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner for review. Well now, doesn't that contradict what Mr. Parker just said in his email here? Speaking of which, let's get back to it. He goes on to say, the Victoria Police Department noted that you filed concerns related to specific VicPD members, and that these concerns included reference to specific allegations of misconduct as set out under Section 77 of the Police Act. Registered complaints, public trust, are complaints about a police officer's specific conduct or actions that affect a citizen personally, conduct that he or she has witnessed or comes to know as a third party. If a citizen references an allegation of misconduct contained within Section 77 of the BC Police Act, which you have done, a complaint is considered to have been made and is to be registered under Section 78. When the OPCC receives a registered complaint, which the departments are required to send us, if received by them, an OPCC investigative analyst will review the complaint to see if the conduct alleged, if substantiated, would constitute misconduct by the member. If so, the complaint will receive a notice of admissibility, and the complaint will be forwarded to the professional standards section of the police department for investigation. Municipal police departments do not have jurisdiction to investigate police complaints about misconduct under the Police Act without direction from the Police Complaint Commissioner. And again, totally contradicts what it says about question concerns or unregistered complaints on the website of the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner. Mr. Parker goes on to say, when you filed your complaint on July 4th, 2016 regarding your concerns with Constable Greg Horonowich of the Victoria Police Department, you were very clear with this office that you were not filing a complaint and further advised to not email you again regarding the matter. As you made it clear you had not filed a complaint with the OPCC, we closed our file, and you were advised that we could take no further action. You confirmed receipt of that notification. Again, without direction from this office to the Victoria Police Department to investigate allegations of police misconduct, the Victoria Police do not have jurisdiction to embark on an investigation under the Police Act. A department's jurisdiction to investigate police misconduct matters is pursuant to the Police Act, with the oversight provided by the OPCC. This is the process in place in British Columbia for conduct involving municipal police officers. Please advise if you are or are not filing a registered complaint with our office pursuant to the Police Act. If you would like to file a registered complaint, this office will process it as such and have an analyst assess it for admissibility purposes. If it is not your intention to file a registered complaint, then this office will not proceed any further. I trust this provides some clarity for you. Sincerely, Anthony Parker. Yes, Mr. Parker. It does provide clarity for me. Clarity that the OPCC is acting outside the Police Act and committing fraud against the public trust. Thank you for clarifying that for everyone. And I responded to Mr. Parker's email, and I go on to say, as I said, sir, the Vic PD, OPCC, and BC Police Act have conflicting info. Also, there is some incorrect info that someone has made up. Specifically, the report I made on July 4th, 2016. I asked specifically to make an unregistered complaint, which is a question or concern. The watch commander was clueless as to what that was and gave me a complaint form, to which I insisted he had given me the wrong form. He told me that that was the only form he was going to give me, so after crossing out all of the OPCC logos, etc., I wrote up an unregistered complaint, which is a question or concern. This is not my fault that the watch commander was clueless to the process and insisted that I fill out the wrong form. That should fall on Stan Lowe, or Dale Manick, or the clueless watch commander manning the front desk that morning. So any mention that I filled out a registered complaint form in July 2016 is completely false, and I would caution anyone that further does so. According to the OPCC website, when a member of the public has concerns about the conduct of a member of a municipal police department but does not wish to file a registered complaint, he/she may contact that department directly. The professional standards section must record and forward a copy of the record along with how it was resolved to the OPCC for review. So this is the second time I've made an unregistered complaint, which is a question or concern, and still has not been resolved. Further, it seems there is an attempt being made by Vic PD and the OPCC to further draw out and suppress these serious allegations. The Police Complaint Commissioner, Stan Lowe, can order an investigation and recommend charges to Crown Counsel when a police officer gets in a car accident, but he does nothing when these serious allegations are brought forward? And the Vic PD can't request an ordered investigation when they become aware of these serious allegations? Dale Manick and the Vic PD can completely ignore Section 88 of the British Columbia Police Act and allow evidence relating to a report to be destroyed? Over a year now, and no one has any interest in the evidence I have that proves the serious allegations? Accountability, integrity, professionalism, Vic PD? Also, according to Brian Thiessen, you guys at the OPCC haven't sworn an oath as per Section 51.011A, which means you're under no obligation to act impartial, and have in fact committed fraud against the public trust. So why hasn't Stan Lowe ordered an investigation? He has the authority to do so, right? He can even recommend charges to Crown Counsel, right? Why hasn't Dale Manick collected any evidence related to this report from over a year ago as per Section 88 of the BC Police Act? And subsection 2 states it must be done regardless of the admissibility of a complaint or report. It would seem that BC is in a sad state as far as police accountability and public trust, thanks to Stan Lowe and Liar Woods. I would say it's too far gone for me to even give a shit about what you guys think, because the evidence points to and supports what I've been saying all along. I would be a fool to willingly subject myself to your bogus admissibility process. What a joke that is. Never again. If you guys won't do anything about it, then I'll take care of it myself, in the manner I usually do. Don't say I never gave you guys a chance, and don't take personal what comes next. Let me know how long the Vic PD have to resolve my question, concern, unregistered complaint, as per the OPCC website. I'm waiting. Cheers, Dan. Mr. Parker responded with the following. Hi, Dan. Regardless of which form you used or were provided with, the OPCC has jurisdiction over both processes. The question or concern process is still a Police Act process, which the OPCC provides oversight for. Crossing out any reference to the OPCC on the form does not preclude our involvement. I note that on the form you submitted for the incident on July 3, 2016, the, quote, registered complaint, unquote, box is checked indicating the filing of a registered complaint. The form also includes your signature indicating your agreement with this. Again, you were very clear in your correspondence with our office last year that you had not submitted anything to the OPCC. You advised us that we had no authority over this matter, and to not email you again. Considering your wishes, we did nothing further, and the file was closed. We notified the Victoria Police Department of this as well, so they were aware of the status of the file here. As I mentioned in my email to you on July 14, 2017, without direction from this office to the Victoria Police Department to investigate allegations of police misconduct, the Victoria Police Department do not have jurisdiction to embark on an investigation under the Police Act. Also, from my email to you on July 14, 2017, I noted that if a citizen references an allegation of misconduct contained within Section 77 of the Police Act, which you have done, a complaint is considered to have been made and is to be registered under Section 78. So that is where we are at now. Please advise if you are or are not filing a registered complaint with our office pursuant to the Police Act. If it is not your intention to file a registered complaint, then this office will not proceed any further. Sincerely, Anthony Parker. And shortly after, I responded to Mr. Parker, and I went on to say, "There you go. Thank you. You just proved it. That was easy." If what you say is true, then the information on your OPCC website and the VicPD website and the BC Police Act is incorrect. And the laws don't apply if you ignore them. Police departments can request an investigation. They sure do it a lot. And Stan Lowe can order any investigation. He's done it before and has the power to do so now. They snap their fingers and bam, investigation. A year later, and no one can do anything even though the Police Act says they're required to? That's kind of the point of Section 88 of the BC Police Act, isn't it? Call back Monday? It's hilarious! Doesn't really matter anyways. You guys have no authority to act in the province of British Columbia. You're a completely biased agency run by the most corrupt people in our province. Have a good day, sir. Dan. Shortly after, I received a response email from Raleigh Woods, and he went on to say the following. Dear Dan, I have been informed of your recent correspondence with our office regarding your concerns with members of the Victoria Police Department from an incident in July of 2016. Based on our office's responses to you, you were informed a question or concern deals with a citizen asking why a certain action or decision was made, or bringing to the attention of the department an issue that they may need clarification on. Departments will look into the question concern and will provide a response to the person filing the question or concern. The OPCC is mandated to review all questions and concerns. Registered complaints, public trust, are complaints about police officers' specific conduct or actions that affect a citizen personally, conduct that he or she has witnessed or comes to know as a third party. If a citizen references an allegation of misconduct contained within Section 77 of the Police Act, which you have done, a complaint is considered to have been made and is to be registered under Section 78. Municipal police departments do not have jurisdiction to investigate police complaints about misconduct under the Police Act without direction from the Police Complaint Commissioner. A department's jurisdiction to investigate police misconduct matters is pursuant to the Police Act, with oversight provided by the OPCC. This is the process in place in British Columbia for conduct involving municipal police officers. I note from your email on July 16, 2017, your view on our office's process, quote, "I would be a fool to willingly subject myself to your bogus admissibility process." What a joke that is. Never again. Based on your comments, it appears as though you are not filing a complaint at this time. You are certainly welcome to file your complaint pursuant to the Police Act legislation in British Columbia. The Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner and municipal police departments in British Columbia are bound by this legislation. Therefore, we are unable to act outside of it. Sorry. If you are wishing to file your complaint as a registered complaint pursuant to the Police Act, then please advise our office. Without your confirmation of such, we will not be proceeding any further at this time. Sincerely, Raleigh Woods. And shortly after, I responded to Raleigh Woods' email with the following. I said, Raleigh, Did you see the video I made about you? And I linked my YouTube video called OPCC No Authority Part 2, which is all about Raleigh Woods. And then I said, have a nice day, sir, Dan. Shortly after this series of emails with the OPCC, I received the following letter from the Victoria Police Department. It says, Dear Dan, thank you for submitting your question or concern to the Victoria Police Department. The Professional Standards section has reviewed your concern. It is noted that the subject of this concern has been previously submitted by you in the form of a registered complaint to the Victoria Police Department in July 2016. At that time, the Victoria Police Department Professional Standards section forwarded the registered complaint to the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner for an admissibility review and oversight. This registered complaint was being reviewed by the OPCC, and the investigative analyst, Mr. Anthony Parker, contacted you for clarification. You indicated to him that you did not wish any involvement with the OPCC. The OPCC consequently closed their file, and as a result, there was no investigation conducted by the Victoria Police Department Professional Standards section into the matter. After careful review of your concern, the Victoria Police Department is of the opinion that the allegations you have laid out fall under Section 77 of the Police Act. Pursuant to the guidelines on, quote, receiving and handling of questions or concerns, unquote, issued by the OPCC on October 8, 2014, quote, in circumstances when a member of the public references an allegation of misconduct contained within Section 77 of the Police Act, a complaint is considered to have been made and is to be registered under Section 78 of the Police Act, unquote. As such, your question or concern has been forwarded to the OPCC as a registered complaint for review and direction. Thank you, Staff Sergeant Johnson. So, there you have it, folks. The British Columbia Police Act is clear. The website of the OPCC is clear. But what they actually do and how they handle it is completely different. To further prove this, here is a document that Staff Sergeant Waterman provided Mr. Dean and myself. This document was sent out to all the municipal police departments in the province of British Columbia, and it explains how an unregistered complaint should be handled. Essentially, this document basically instructs municipal police departments to forego the British Columbia Police Act, and literally instructs them to handle it, quote, their way, unquote, as in the OPCC's way, which of course translates into the OPCC acting outside of the British Columbia Police Act. Again, yes, folks, more proof. The OPCC does not have the authority to act in the province of British Columbia, have committed fraud against the public trust, and operates outside of the British Columbia Police Act. Well, that's it for this video. Please leave a comment below on how you think the OPCC is handling police accountability as a impartial, transparent civilian oversight in the province of British Columbia. And remember, if you've ever made a complaint about a municipal police officer in the province of British Columbia and wondered why your complaint was handled with an extreme bias, now you know why. It's because the OPCC doesn't have the authority to act in the province of British Columbia, and they've committed fraud against the public trust. Thanks for watching.